My name is Nick Taylor. This beautiful lady is my wife, Carly Taylor. And it was a day that I normally don't work, so after training and everything, they had me work. And I ended up getting receiving a call and helping this guy out. And we were waiting, I don't even remember what the issue was, something with his network. And we were waiting for the computer to restart, or we were doing something and there was some downtime. So we just started talking and I said, "Oh, hey, where are you calling from?" And he said, "Oh, Placerville." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Hey, my wife and I are closing on a house in Shingle Springs. That's kind of cool." I asked him what he does. And he's like, "Oh, I'm a pastor." And I was like, "Oh, all right." He's going to give me like a little spiel or a run or say I should come to church. And he did. He's like, "Oh, you should swing by our church." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And I was being polite more than anything. I was kind of not into the whole church thing at that time, although she was certainly trying to get me into it. Because we were moving, Carly and her mom were looking for a church. So it came up and I was like, "Oh, hey, actually I talked to this guy who's a pastor in Placerville. He invited us to church. Why don't you go check it out?" And so she went and she came back and said that she really liked church. And then she said they have donuts. And I was like, "Ooh, I like donuts."
At the time they had donuts, yeah.
I like donuts. So I started going to church for the donuts. And met David face to face and look at all the things that had to go in to getting me here. I mean, Carly had been fighting with me trying to get me to church for years. And I felt like it was God like smacking me on the back of the head and saying, "Hello, can we do this now?" Because I had been doing helping out with a group that I normally don't help with. It was for a very specific reason. It was because they were launching some software. It was on a day that I didn't work. Out of the thousands of calls that we receive every second, it happened to be someone from not only the United States, but California and the area that I live in. We happened to have an issue where we had some downtime while we were waiting for a step that we just started talking. The question happened to be, "Where do you live and what do you do?" He invited me. I said yes. At a time when we were looking for a church anyways, there was too many things that went into that for it just to be a thing of chance.
I'd been praying for Nick, just to have that collision with God, to have something that smacked him upside the head and, woke him up, because at the time he was exploring different avenues of different religions and things. And he worked with a guy who was a different religion who was trying to get him into that kind of thing. And, it was kind of scary as a wife. It happened just like Nick said. He talked to a guy on the phone. The guy just happened to be Pastor David. And I knew it. I knew that this was answer to my prayers, and God says, pray without ceasing. And that's exactly what I did. Even though it had been like 4 years, I didn't feel like my prayers were being answered, but really they were. He was listening.